Hey guys, it's Taku. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you are watching this video, you're probably here for one of three reasons. The first is that you are one of my loyal subscribers and you will watch everything that I make, right? The second is that you are following the Owls Bloggers virtual mini convention. And to that I say, I'm so glad you're here. You've made it to the next stop. And the third reason is that you are perhaps just interested in my thoughts over one of anime's most interesting and influential sci-fi fantasy series ever made. And to that, I sincerely hope that this video can be of some help to you as you try to navigate your way through one of my favorite anime franchises of all time. Because I'm sure we all know that some anime franchises can get a little out of hand, and knowing where to start can just be half the battle. This video is going to be divided into two parts. The first is just to go over all of the mediums that exist in this franchise, from books and movies to series and other spin-offs, and the second half of this is going to be my personal recommended watch order for the Toaru franchise. And now with introductions out of the way, let's go ahead and go back to the very beginning of this franchise with the light novel that started it all. Taking us all the way back to the beginning, we have Kazuma Kamachi's A Certain Magical Index, which has art by Kiyotaka Himura. This light novel was in serialization from 2004 to 2010 and has 22 volumes, which are all complete. A Certain Magical Index is the very beginning. It is the source for all of this, and if you are looking for a place to start, this might not be a bad option. Following the success of his first light novel series, Kazuma Kamachi and Kiyotaka Himura went on to write A Certain Magical Index New Testament, which just completed in 2019 and started in 2011. This series has 23 volumes. And as of the beginning of 2020, Kazuma Kamachi is on to his third big index series with A Certain Magical Index Genesis Testament, and there is currently one volume. Index's history with books does not stop at the light novels, of course. There is also a manga series which features Kazuma Kamachi's original story, but has art by Chuya Kogino. This manga currently has 24 volumes and is ongoing. However, this manga series is recommended as supplemental material only and should not be probably your first place to start or certainly your only stopping point. And that is because the Certain Magical Index manga skips some of the very critical arcs at the very beginning that establish a lot of the early characters and some of the world. I suppose I would only recommend this so strongly if you are a huge fan of manga and you only do manga and you don't read prose. Now let's talk some anime. The first season of the A Certain Magical Index anime ran from 2008 to 2009. It was directed by Hiroshi Nishikiori and animated by JC Staff, who will both go on to create the rest of the Index anime. The series has 24 episodes and adapts the first 6 volumes of the original light novel. After that, we've got Index Season 2, which ran from 2010 to 2011 and adapts the next 7 books of the light novel series, so from volume 7 to 13. Next up is the franchise film, A Certain Magical Index, The Miracle of Endymion, which is all original but became canon later on, and debuted in Japanese theaters in winter 2013. The film is an hour and a half. Last but certainly not least for Index anime is, you guessed it, A Certain Magical Index Season 3. This ran from 2018 to 2019 and has 26 episodes. It adapts the remaining 9 volumes of the original light novel, which is 14 to 22, and suffers from some weird pacing problems as a result. But still, the 26 episode series gets the job done in adapting all of A Certain Magical Index's original light novel series. Let's flip the script and look at the science side now of this great franchise. A Certain Scientific Railgun began as just a spin-off series or a sister series to Index. All of the original Railgun story is actually told in a manga, which has story by Kazuma Kamachi and art by Motoi Fuyukawa. There are currently 15 volumes. Eventually, A Certain Scientific Railgun attracted enough popularity to receive an anime adaptation, which aired from 2009 to 2010. This anime also has 24 episodes, but unlike Index, has a different director who is Tatsuyuki Nagai. It may also be important to note that if you do like reading manga, A Certain Scientific Railgun adapts the first 3 volumes in its first half, and the remaining 8 episodes are all anime original, which is called the Poltergeist arc. All of this arc is considered supplement to the Railgun universe, but if you're watching the anime, it's all still great content. Following the riveting success of its first season, A Certain Scientific Railgun went on to produce a sequel, which is called A Certain Scientific Railgun S. This anime is also 24 episodes and ran throughout 2013. It's good to know that in terms of adaptation, Railgun S picks off where the first season left off and adapts volumes 4 through almost all of 7. The last 8 episodes of Railgun S just like the first season, are all anime original, and it's called the Silent Party arc. Again, it's not the strongest arc in terms of the rest of the franchise, but if you are liking what you see in Railgun so far, you will probably just continue on as if it's nothing different. Plus, I'm in the minority that thinks that all Railgun original content is good content. A whopping 7 years later, which I remember waiting for, Railgun fans were elated to hear news of a certain scientific Railgun Season 3, or as it's known now, Railgun T. Railgun T started airing at the beginning of 2020 and is actually still airing as of the recording of this video. Railgun T is announced to be 25 episodes long and adapts the remainder of Volume 7 of the manga to Volume 10. Although this time, instead of being anime original, you have Volumes 11 through 13 of the manga being adapted for the second half. Now let's talk some of the other important spin-offs. On the science side, you have the Railgun spin-off manga, Astral Buddy. This has story by Kazuma Kamichi and art by Yasuhito Nogi, and follows one of the girls in Railgun T. It is pretty much recommended to read this after the anime has aired so that you can follow it sort of as a companion story to whatever the anime decides to present. The manga began serialization in 2017 and has continued to the present with 3 volumes. But the other noteworthy spin-off is the whole A Certain Scientific Accelerator franchise, which actually, yes, is a spin-off from the original Index light novels. This follows the main anti-hero of the Index franchise, Accelerator, and his endeavors through the scientific and magical communities on his own little series. This originated as a manga by Kazuma Kamichi and has art by Arata Yamaji. It started in 2013 and come the middle end of 2020 will actually conclude with 12 volumes in the manga. A Certain Scientific Accelerator was also popular enough to receive an anime adaptation in 2019. It was 12 episodes long and adapts volumes 1 through 7 of the manga series. It sounds like a lot, but apparently the Accelerator manga are much smaller than your average manga, so it flows fairly well. These 12 episodes were directed by Nobuharu Kamanaka. My friends, that concludes all of the noteworthy Toaru adaptations, sources, books, you name it. There are a bunch of other games and little cheapy spin-offs and shorts, but those are otherwise considered supplemental material for sure, and I didn't want to bog down this video by talking about those. So I will go ahead and skip those for now, but just know that there are, yes, some games and cheapy spin-offs that exist. This guide also mainly aims to cover officially licensed parts of the franchise, except for New Testament and Genesis Testament. This is, of course, so you can legally stream or legally buy all of the anime and manga that you would like. It's 2020, y'all. Support the industry. Now let's go ahead and talk order, which I'm sure you all have been waiting for. Remember that this is all my personal recommendation, and that my watch is going to be different from someone else's, of course, and someone can recommend different things, and you can watch whatever you want to in whatever order you want. As long as you are enjoying yourself, you honestly can't go wrong in this franchise. So yeah, whatever order you want to do this, it's up to you, but this is the way I do it, and this is the way I have recommended it to people, and these people have very much told me that they enjoyed watching it in this order because had they watched it in a different way, they might not have liked it as much, or they might not have the emotional draw to it that they do now had they watched it in a different order. So, order. If you can help it, if you like books, if you like reading, if reading is something that you enjoy and it doesn't bother you, read all of the A Certain Magical Index light novels first. Not only was it the first thing ever released for this franchise, but it also encompasses the entire Index story. And remember, Railgun fits somewhere within it. Index is the main story, and it's good to not forget that. But let's say books aren't your thing. Either you don't have time for them, or you can't seem to find it anywhere, or check it out, or buy it from somewhere, then I have my personal anime watching order for you right here. In my humblest opinion, and this is going to seem very controversial to all the Toaru fans out there, I would actually start with A Certain Scientific Railgun. Railgun's first season was actually my introduction to this franchise, and perhaps I'm biased because it was my first, but ever since then I have been recommending Railgun first to people, and to the people who have watched Railgun first, they found it to be a much simpler story. The cast is a lot smaller and the focus is a lot more narrowed. It thus makes it an easier introduction to the world of Academy City, where the story takes place, as well as some of the major characters that you will see here and there. The Index story on its own can be very hard to follow. And this comes from a fan who has watched everything and is currently reading it all. It's convoluted, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of different magic systems that need to be explained, there's magicians and religions all over the place, and it's awesome. It's amazing world building, and it's a great story. But if you are looking for a first attachment, I don't think the Index anime is your place to start. you will find that through watching this anime that Makoto Misaka, who is technically a secondary character in the Index franchise, is a much more endearing protagonist than Toma. And maybe that's just because of the story or the way that it's told, but Railgun just hits closer to home for a lot of people, and because of that, I recommend that you watch it first. The last thing you want to do is get started on this big franchise only to be so bored and turned off by the first anime, which I have seen happen to people. The events of A Certain Scientific Railgun Season 1 also take place before any of the events covered in the Index original story. So by starting with Railgun first, you're not only helping yourself out from a chronological standpoint, but you're getting a stronger emotional attachment to the story and the world of Academy City. Following Railgun, of course, is A Certain Magical Index Season 1. You should absolutely watch this second because one of the biggest story arcs in the entire story actually shows up in the second season of Railgun. So if you don't watch this now, you'll either be a little confused later, or you'll just think that it's really, really boring. After getting acquainted with the magic side in Index 1, toggle back on over to the science side with Railgun S. Remember that really big story arc I was talking about just a minute ago? Yeah, Railgun S is that main story. Whereas Index dedicates 5 episodes to the Sisters arc, Railgun S dedicates 15, and as such is the superior adaptation, and the one you should watch second so you can get both perspectives. Now that you've been well acquainted with both sides of the universe and Academy City and all of the characters inhabiting it, now would be a great time to watch A Certain Scientific Accelerator. The reason I don't include the Accelerator anime in this infographic is partially for the reason that I thought it was a somewhat boring and just weird adaptation in general. But if you are a completionist, now is a great time to watch it. You can also watch Accelerator later on if you want. Honestly, Accelerator can kind of go anywhere. Whether you decide to watch Accelerator here, now, or never, your next watch should absolutely be A Certain Magical Index Season 2. Chronologically, it just makes sense, and just like the previous Railgun and Index combo, there is an arc in here that they spend about 3 to 4 episodes on that is expanded upon in the next Railgun season. So start here with this sort of preview, and then you watch Railgun T for the expanded story. Before that though, pop in that Index movie, The Miracle of Endymion. While it is technically anime original content, it is an exciting little film on its own. I like Endymion, and don't let other people stop you from watching this film. It's fun. Just like I said earlier though with Index 2, your next watch is Railgun T. And although Railgun is technically still airing right now, it doesn't hurt to jump on board and watch those first 15 episodes, because honestly by the time you get around to it, the remaining will probably be out because, I mean, you've got well over 75 episodes to catch up on by this point. In case you haven't noticed the pattern so far of Railgun Index, Railgun Index, Railgun, we are now back to Index 3 to complete the remaining adaptation of the original light novel series. This is A Certain Magical Index Season 3, and chronologically it does come last in the franchise. So by starting with the prequel material of Railgun and ending with the climactic Season 3 of Index, you're probably getting the most concise and convenient timeline for you, chronologically and nearly in terms of release order. This avoids all of the toggling back and forth of watching 5 episodes of Railgun and then watching 2 episodes of Index and then 7 episodes of Railgun and then 6 episodes of Index. So in case I haven't made my personal views clear yet, you should skip the Railgun manga because the anime covers it all. You should skip the Index manga because it skips arcs. You should read Accelerator if you are unsatisfied with the anime. You should read Astral Buddy only after having watched Railgun T if desired. And the dub and the sub are good for all of these. You can find all of the anime licensed and distributed by Funimation, the light novels from Yen Press, and all of the manga from 7 Seas. So there you have it, guys. That is my personal watch order for the Toaru franchise, also known as the RailDex franchise. With so many books, movies, anime adaptations, and spin-offs to its name, do you see why I think a watch order is kind of helpful? Through my research, I have collected 3 pages of notes that didn't exist before, but also a newfound love for this franchise. I really do like Railgun and Index a lot, and I do think that having more of this animated or licensed for us is a good thing. But that's my recommended watch order, and I've talked enough. What do you think new fans should start with? Let me know your suggested order for the Toaru franchise down in the comments so we can get the conversation started. But otherwise, I think that'll do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, go ahead and drop me a like. It really helps me out. And if you want more anime or K-pop or manga related content, subscribe to stick around. For For more of my musings, you can follow me at Takuto Anime Cafe on Twitter. My blog goes by the same name, and my Instagram that you can follow is TakutoAC if you feel so inclined. I have a lot more Railgun tea to watch, and you guys now have the pleasure of enjoying one of the best franchises in anime history. I love it so much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you again so much for watching, have fun on your journey, and till next time.